here it is again, my least favourite night of the year in Berlin. I'm out in the balcony of the flat, which is ground floor in the Hinterhof. So I can only hear the sounds, I can't see any fireworks. From 6 o'clock onwards it becomes legal to start shooting off the fireworks. It's a weird experience, a weird feeling, because you're in a city that was bombed and eventually in street by street fighting eventually taken over, and yet the people here on New Year's Eve, Sylvester, they go out into the streets with, my stepson has gone off with his father and with friends with more than 60 years worth of fireworks, and they are firing these things off through the night. But here in my home with these sounds, it just feels like either there's an air raid or there's, street fighting going on, or it just feels very ugly.
Die Bereitschaften der Feuerwehr und des Sicherheits- und Hilfsdienstes fahren in ihre Alarmräume.
Leaving trails of steaming vapor in their wake, United States bombers bound for Berlin to destroy armament industries in and around the Nazi war capital.
Okay, so now it's about 9 o'clock and I'm out for a walk with Sam, the dog. He needs to pee, but he really doesn't want to be out. I'm going to go around for a walk by the church. That's usually a meeting place. And that's Sam shaking himself. There's a guy walking past us at the moment with 4 fireworks rockets under his arm. Sam is pulling at the lead. He really does want to get home. Crying get angst, I'm afraid. And she set up the rocket, but we're going back inside. Sam is really hard to hang on to. He wants to get home.
Отсюда через всю Европу шагали факельщики, поджигатели наших мирных городов и деревень. И этот огонь войны, зажженный здесь, в Берлине, вернулся снова обратно сюда, в Берлин.
So, 10 o'clock. Still, obviously 2 hours to go. And people out in the streets. Small groups around with fireworks. There's a guy here just at the corner I'm walking towards. He's obviously just about to set something off, I think. I'm standing at the corner of Barbarossa-Strasse and Goldstrasse, near where I live. This is Schöneberg, which was not one of the worst damaged to places, but by the end of the Second World War, some 80% of Berlin had been destroyed in the bombing. When the Allies came into the city first, the Soviets had taken it over in street by street fighting, and when the Allies came in, the leader of the British forces looked at the place and said the city could never be rebuilt. And his opinion was that the city should be left as it was, as a kind of a memorial to the futility of war, and a new Berlin built somewhere else. And on this night I always imagine what it would have been like during the street fighting or the bombing and the terror, and the times when neighbours, past neighbours, people who had lived in the house where I now live, were hiding in the cellar underneath where I live. And they would have been hearing noises like this. So I'm coming up to Winterplatz. This is an area, a square, very beautiful before the war. I've seen photographs of it and was more or less completely destroyed. There's a Catholic church here that was rebuilt in the form of the church that was destroyed. All the buildings around were all modern buildings. And up here is where Noam and his friends and many more people will be setting off their fireworks. Noam. Hi.
Ist Claudia nicht umgegangen?
Nee.
Was macht ihr
I'm making a recording of you.
An Martin, ich will Silvester feiern.
Yeah, and how many rockets have you fired so far? How many so far? I'm walking with Noam, who has an entire rucksack full
Das ist richtig peinlich.
of rockets and firecrackers and everything. How many have you shot so far? 3, okay.
Mit dem englischen Radio, irischen Radio von mir.
Yeah.
Ja,
Close
Emma,
accent.
sag mal was.
Hey, tell me. Hello.
Nimmt was auf, jetzt alles wird unter.
Auf Englisch.
Alles
You have to
wird
speak
überwacht.
English.
Nein. Alles wird überwacht. Ganz ehrlich. Mein
Close
Vater
accent.
ist da. Glaub ich. Da ist Ich mochte! Mein Skifahrtwasser nimmt alles auf.
For the Berliners themselves, the nightmare became ever more real as their city crumbled round them.
In the courtyard again, I'm going to head off out. I'm going to head over in the direction of Rata Schöneberg, relatively near where I live. A place where John Kennedy gave his famous Ich bin ein Berliner speech in June 1963, a few months before his death. I know that there, and certainly along the way, I'll see plenty of families and groups out with their fireworks. There we go. Good night.
Berlin's defenders fought street by street. Now began the final battle for Berlin, as the Russians fought ever closer to the city's heart.
It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm standing here in my study with the window slightly open. And as I hear all this, I just don't understand how Berliners, given all that the city went through, can want to have this as their way of celebrating the beginning of a new year.